Hello and welcome back to my channel, The Shared Experience. Today I would like to share my experience with you all on my adoption story. I have been struggling a lot with my mental health lately. And honestly, it's not even lately. It's like I've struggled off and on with depression for basically the majority of my life. I have been on like a really intense spiritual journey for the last 3 years. But spirituality is not like new to me. I've always been a spiritual person and even a spiritual child. I've always been connected to it. So, like I said, I've been on this intense journey for the last 3 years, and it's consisted of basically exploring all types of spiritual practices and trying different things to deepen my spiritual knowledge and just heal myself. And obviously spirituality is something that's not like, it doesn't happen overnight, and it really does take work. And it's almost like, so you have to, in a sense, like be initiated into certain levels. And like sometimes we'll read about things or hear about things that are spiritual, and we like can't even like fully grasp the concept until we've been initiated. That's been my experience anyway. So I've done some meditation, I've done drumming, I've done candle work, moon cycles, like working with the moon cycles, prayer, tobacco, cacao, Blue Lotus. I've tried different things, nothing like, super extravagant, just the things that I have access to. And essentially what it's come down to is I've reached this point where in a lot of ways I do feel like, and I didn't say chakra system, but like I've been working with my chakras and trying to align them. And honestly, what I feel about the chakra system is that it's there, it exists, it's an intense energy, but when you've never worked with it before, I feel like things got worse before they got better. And that's just my experience. It's an honest reflection. I have thought about it for some time, and I've really like trialed and errored a lot of things. But I think I felt a little bit stagnant, and I felt like things weren't improving like I had anticipated they would on this path. I should also say that I am a little bit of a tortured soul. I really get caught up in my head, and that's part of my mental health struggle. And I don't take medication, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't or anybody shouldn't. I think medication can bring great relief. But my struggle was that when I started a medication, it would work for 3 months, 6 months, and then it would just stop, and the same issues kept reoccurring. So that's part of the reason why I went on the spiritual journey, because I'm like, maybe there's something that I'm missing in myself, and hopefully I was hopeful that spirituality would help me really uncover what this was. And because I kept coming to this point of depression and like darkness, and honestly I would describe my spiritual path over the last 3 years more of a dark night of the soul than I would like spiritual exploration or this glamorous thing that a lot of people like to front that spirituality is. And it's really not glamorous. But I think there is a misconception, and a lot of people will lead you to think that it's this glamorous thing. However, like I said, just feeling like I struggle a lot mentally with my thoughts and anxiety. And even like when I started this channel, I would start and then stop and then start and then stop. And really, I just suffered so much from insecurity and just feeling like I wasn't good enough, or like I didn't have anything worthy of sharing, or I don't have this glamorous life that a lot of people think I do or would want to see. But again, I started to realize that was just a front, and that was just a misconception that a lot of people on YouTube put out there in order to feel better about themselves. And I think it's great. I think if you feel good about yourself and you look good and feel good and your house is perfect and your life is perfect, then of course you want to show it off. But I think I'm coming from a place that's the opposite of that. I'm coming to you from a place that is not perfect, is not pretty, is not worthy of being shown off. But essentially what I came to is that that's the reason I need to share. And I have been compelled to share this because something just keeps churning inside of me that you need to share this, you need to share this, you need to talk about it, you need to, in order for me to heal, in order for me to move forward. It's something that I need to address, and it's something that I need to reveal, because it was revealed to me that this is the source of my depression. It's the source of my unhappiness. It's the source of my soul's darkness. And it's just one piece of my life, obviously. But I know that I can't be the only person who's struggling. And I think the pandemic has really, some people have really been able to excel and like do great things during the pandemic, and others of us have really been in some turmoil, and we've been dealing with a lot of different things. But anyway, just to get to the point, right? So I have been contemplating sharing this, and it's difficult for me to talk about because it's such a deep wound. My adoption story is such a deep wound for me, not necessarily for anybody else, but I think everybody has something that's deep, or everybody has something that's hidden, or everybody has something that they haven't dealt with for their, a good portion of their lives, and they don't realize that could be something that's preventing them from living life fully, which is what pushed me to share this, because I'm like, why can't I be happy? Why don't I deserve to be secure? Why don't I feel confident? Why can't I be, who I'm meant to be, and why can't I live my life fully? And strangely enough, on Sunday, I was just like in a really dark place, and I get these occurrences like every so often, and I really get like, it's almost like I can't even talk. I can't talk to anyone. I can't, nothing helps, you know? So it's like, I have a husband, I have children, like everybody's trying to like, you know, something's wrong with mom, like, you know, whatever. I'm not like angry or anything. I'm just like really inside myself, inside my head, inside my own world that's inside of me. And no one else knows that space but me. And over time, not just on Sunday, but on Sunday was really when it all connected, like all the dots connected. And, you know, I'm sure there's probably some astrological explanation. And I won't get into it because I do my own reading and stuff on it and listen to other astrology folks. But I started to realize that I was disconnecting myself from myself. So people would take a picture of me, like my daughter, my husband, or I would look at pictures of myself just from, you know, my camera roll or whatever. And I just always felt like disconnected from that person. And I always looked at myself, if it was even a happy picture, and thought, who is she? And I don't know, I mean, maybe this is a normal thing and maybe other people think it also, but I realized that I was looking at myself and wondering like who this person was. And almost like I didn't recognize her. Or the happiness or the, you know, whatever the emotion was associated with that picture. But I also struggle with a lot of like insecurity, low self-esteem, just negative self-talk, you know, the list goes on and on. So along with that, and feeling like looking at my pictures I didn't identify with, I realized that it all stems from one moment in my life. Obviously, like this moment for me was huge. And obviously because it's affected me for 30 years, close to 30, I just came to realize it. Like it just like was illuminated. It was like it all comes back to this moment. So I did some deep reflection, and I honestly don't think about this time in my life that often, and it's mostly because it's painful. But I did some deep reflection and tried to remember every moment, tried to remember the scene, tried to remember the words that were said, the feelings that I felt, the way things were expressed to me, and it was like a light bulb. Like that's where it comes from. So what I want to do is share with you my reflection of that moment in time, and then eventually, you know, talk about how it's gone on to affect me for this long in my life. And it's sad, but at the same time, it's beautiful, you know, because I think to be able to share it and come full circle with it is beautiful, that it makes sense to me and hopefully will lead me to a more fulfilling life and embracing and will allow me to embrace fully who I am. So I'm going to read to you what my reflection was on this time. on this pivotal moment, on this impactful time in my life. And this, I'm just going to read, okay? Maybe it's so hard for me to recognize her because I really don't know who she is. Who she is, who she was, where she's been, and where she's going. Perhaps that's why this prayer to the Creator, the Great Spirit, came to me one tired, lonely day. Great Spirit, only you know who I am. Only you know where I've been. Only you know where I'm going. And so, only you know what I need. Please help me. Aho. For in the end, one day, it will all make sense. It will all come to light. There will be no more darkness, only light. Light only. All paths stem from and lead to the sum of all my wounds. The wounds that will never heal. The scars are merely a cover-up, a shield for what truths lie beneath them. At times, my life feels like one big tower moment that never fully rebuilds. It doesn't ever fully return to what it was or how it should be. In one sense, I'm a tortured soul who doesn't really believe in the lies of happiness. That one should be happy, successful, rich. Insert your desired achievements into that statement. Because in the end, none of those achievements matter. When we leave this physical space and place, our achievements and desired outcomes won't matter. The only thing that matters is how we've loved, how we've treated others, how we've meted, greeted, used, and abused, how we've impacted the lives of others, and how we've made it through to the end. Not only how we've treated others, but also how we've treated ourselves. What makes some of us more capable of handling mental pressures than others? What makes some of us more susceptible or resilient to abuse than others? What makes us more likely to abuse ourselves? Maybe I have a hard time. My struggle. Maybe I am troubled to recognize myself because I've never truly accepted myself for who I am. Maybe I've never accepted myself because it's hard for me to recognize myself and struggle to love myself. I wish I could see what other people see. Because I don't see the same things. I don't know why. It doesn't need to be this way. Loving myself does not come naturally. My insecurities run deep. I often wonder who I could have been if my parents never told me. Who would I have become if I had stayed with my birth parents? Who did I become? Is this really me? Am I what I was meant to be? Because it's difficult to tell sometimes. Am I really me? If there is one thing I'm certain of, it's that being a mother is a big part of my journey. Which is probably why it's so hard for me to fathom what my parents had to go through. Both of them, both sets of parents. When my soul grows tired, I experience moments of despair, thinking how I should be happy, how I should be more appreciative and grateful for all of the blessings I have in my life. I am extremely lucky. I am extremely grateful. But I still come to a place when my soul is tired, when it feels like nothing matters, like I don't care about anything. Somehow I can't see past my doubts and self-judgment. At times, I can be so critical of myself that I don't actually recognize myself. I look at my pictures and wonder who that girl is, who the person in the picture could be, and how come I don't recognize her? Why am I in this body? Perhaps I'm completely disassociated from my body. Perhaps I don't recognize her because I don't know that this is my body. Perhaps because I know that this body is just a shell. And this lifetime is an illusion of my reality. Which then leads me to wonder and further cements my soul's deepest question for what really matters. What is this lifetime all about? What am I after? What am I chasing? What are my needs and deepest desires? What is it all for? Does life need to be this difficult or complex? Perhaps when I look at my pictures and I see that girl that I don't recognize, it all goes back to my deepest wound. My first heartbreak. The time of my teenage years when my parents sat me down and shattered my heart into a million pieces. My dad comes to me and says, "Me and Mom want to talk to you." About what? "It's something important. Come sit at the table." The table? Them on one side and I on the other. My mother could hardly face me. The pain in her eyes carried all throughout her face. My dad was stumbling through his words, trying to find the right way to say, "Just say it, Dad. Did somebody die? What is it? What's going on?" My naive mind immediately thinks, well, these are the two most important people in my life. What could they possibly have to tell me that's this bad? Their presence and security is all I need. All I've ever needed. Things were good at home. Things were good between them. Things were good between us. So I knew it couldn't involve them. And then my dad says, "We're not your real parents." This was my very first lesson in heartbreak. And what I realized is that the truth hurts. And the truth hurt us all. This was not a small wound.